Now before we take a look at the results of moving the fixed constraint to the center of mass, let's change the color back to something we can see better. So I'll go out to Part Painter, and let's just change it to purple, and I'll identify the feature. I probably also want to identify the body, so make sure it's all purple. Then I'll go back to Generative Design and Generate. Maybe I'll move from 60 to 65. And then let's compare the results of moving that fixed constraint from the lower face to the center of mass. And the first thing I notice is proportion. Not only is the one fixed at the center way more balanced, just looks more beautiful, it's just more aesthetically pleasing than the one on the right. Now remember where we are. We're actually in link 1.par, but anytime you'd like to close out of the link, and let's just hit the little X up here, we'll close out. That'll take us back to the assembly, and it'll automatically display what we saw in link 1. So why does this update? Because if we go to link 1 and right mouse click, show hide components, we see that it remembers when we turned on surfaces and turned off design bodies. And that's why it remembers that. Now if we go back to link 1 and open again, let's take a look at our loads and our constraints. Now what sort of results will we come up with if we leave the fixed constraint in the center there and we change the force direction? So let's take a look at that. We'll go to Force, click on Force, and click on the sphere at the end of the arrow. Now I want to drag this out and set it up, but I can't. I need to turn on the design body, and then I can lock to that face. I can click here, here. It doesn't matter if it's vertical, pushing up or pushing down, it's the same result. And just to see those a little better, let's enlarge them. And let's go back to Generative Design and Generate, and we'll leave it on 65. So by moving the fixed constraint from this face here to the center also looks like an improvement. So let's go and lightweight this a little more. We'll go to Generate, and it's on 65 right now. Let's try 75. Now while it makes sense to put the fixed constraint at the center of mass, you've got to remember what basic shape you're starting with. If I go back and turn on the design body, it may make more sense if these edges here were rounded. So I'm going to go back home, round, and add a couple of rounds, say 75. Then I'd like to add a line on this front face, just as an indicator, and I'll look at it from the front view here. I'm going to put a line right where the center of mass is right now, just as an indicator. And if I go back to Inspect, Mass Properties, I want to pull this form out of the way, and if I hit Update, watch where the center of mass is right now. As soon as I hit Update, see how the mass drops down? And so now when I go back to Generate Design, I'm going to get a slightly different result. So that's just something we need to be aware of.